John Harris sits hunched in a stiff hospital chair, the kind that creaks under a man's weight after too many years. At 65, he's a shadow of the cop he used to be. His chest rattles with every shallow breath, his sharp eyes dulled by a tiredness that's settled deep. The room smells faintly of antiseptic and stale coffee, a sterile box in the heart of Millbrook, a nowhere Midwestern town where tractor engines hum through the morning and diner grease clings to the air. Four women stand around him, filling the space with a tension you can feel. Amara, 32, stands closest, her arms crossed, steady as a rock. Simone, 30, hovers near the window, quiet but coiled tight. Tiana, 28, paces like she's ready to punch something, all fire and restless energy. Zoe, 26, sits on the edge of the bed, soft-spoken, but with eyes that cut through the room. They're his girls' all daughters, all fighters. The doctor, a wiry guy with a clipboard and no bedside manner, lays it out cold. Stage 3 lung cancer. 6 months, if you're lucky. John nods, his face blank, like he's heard worse on a midnight patrol. But Amara steps forward, her voice slicing through the silence. We're not buying that. Her words hang there, sharp and final. The sisters swap quick looks, anger in Tiana's clenched jaw, resolve in Simone's tight lips, fear flickering in Zoe's steady gaze. It's more than worry, it's a signal, a hint they've got something up their sleeves, something they're not spilling yet. John stares out the window, watching headlights from a passing truck streak through the dusk. He mutters under his breath, 6 months enough to look back at how it all kicked off. 20 years ago, rain beat down like a fist on Millbrook, turning the streets to mud. John, 45, then eased his patrol car up to a sagging house on Elm Street, the kind with peeling paint and a roof one storm away from caving. Thin cries slipped through the cracked walls, pulling him out of the driver's seat. He stepped inside, flashlight cutting through the dark, and there they were. 4 black girls, huddled together on a threadbare couch. Amara, 12, sat tallest, her braids tight, eyes locked on him like she was sizing up a threat. Simone, 10, clutched a sketchbook to her chest, her fingers smudged with pencil lead. Tiana, 8, balled her fists, a scrapper even then. Zoe, 6, curled small against her sisters, watching him with big, quiet eyes. Their parents were gone, taken out by a car crash days earlier, leaving them alone in a house that smelled of damp rot and grief. Amara spoke first, her voice steady for a kid. They didn't come back. We've been here. John's stomach twisted, had seen plenty of rough nights on the beat, hauled drunks out of ditches and busted up fights. But this was something else. These weren't just kids. They were a unit, holding tight to each other in a world that already kicked them down. What drove a guy like him, a beat cop with no family left, a widower still hearing his dead wife's voice, to take in 4 strangers? And what were his daughters, Amara, Simone, Tiana, Zoe, cooking up now, 20 years later, with his clock running out? The air in that hospital room feels thick, heavy with questions. John's no storybook hero, just a man staring down the end. But these girls, his girls, aren't letting him go without a fight. John Harris gripped the wheel of his patrol car, the worn leather creaking under his hands as he rolled through Millbrook's quiet streets. At 45, he was a fixture in this town, broad shoulders, a buzz cut going gray, and eyes that seen too much. 5 years back, his wife Sarah had died in a car wreck, a drunk driver plowing through a red light on Route 12. Her last words stuck with him, whispered in that hospital bed with tubes snaking out of her. Do some good before you're gone. He'd been trying ever since, but mostly it was just him and the job night shifts, diner coffee, a house too empty to call home. Tonight, though, the radio crackled with something different, cutting through the hum of the engine. All units, possible abandonment at 1456 Elm Street. Multiple minors. Proceed with caution. He flipped on the siren, tires crunching gravel as he turned toward the edge of town. Elm Street was a stretch of sagging houses and overgrown yards, the kind of place folks didn't notice till something went wrong. Rain hammered the windshield, wipers slapping a steady beat. John pulled up to 1456, a beat-up shack with a flickering porch light and a roof bowing under the downpour. Thin cries leaked out, faint but enough to pull him from the car. He grabbed his flashlight, the beam slicing through the wet dark as he stepped inside, boots thudding on warped wood. There they were, four black girls, huddled on a couch that's seen better days, its springs poking through faded fabric. Amara, 12, sat tallest, her braids pulled tight, eyes steady as she watched him like he might be trouble. Simone, 10, hugged a sketchbook to her chest, pencil smudges dark on her fingers. Tiana, 8, sat with her fists balled, a scowl saying she'd fight if she had to. Zoe, 6, curled against her sisters, small and quiet, her wide eyes tracking him. The room stank of damp rot and stale food, empty cans scattered on a coffee table, a blanket draped over their shoulders like a shield. John's stomach knotted. Had busted meth labs, dragged kids out of wrecks, but this hit different. Police, he called, keeping his voice low. Anyone home? The crying stopped, replaced by a heavy silence. Amara spoke up, her tone flat but firm for a kid. They didn't come back. We've been waiting. John crouched, setting the flashlight down so it didn't blind them. Who didn't come back? He asked. Her jaw tightened. Mom and Dad. Car accident. 3 days ago. 3 days. These girls, his girls, though he didn't know it, yet had been sitting here alone, waiting for ghosts. He radioed it in, voice clipped. 4 minors, no guardians. Send backup in CPS. The next hour blurred social workers in raincoats, a cop buddy named Mike poking his head in, the girl's eyes following every move. Linda, a caseworker with a clipboard and a pinched face, started talking logistics. Hard to place them together. Older kids, cultural gaps, probably split across foster homes. John stood by the door, arms crossed, listening as the words sank in. Split them up. After losing their parents, they'd lose each other too. He saw Amara pull Zoe closer, Tiana's fists tighten, Simona's pencil dig into her sketchbook. Something twisted in his chest, sharp and unnameable. He didn't plan to say it. The words just came out, rough and sudden. What if I take them? The room went dead quiet. Mike spun around, rain dripping off his cap. You're a cop, not a damn charity, John. 4 kids? No money, no wife. You're out of your mind. Linda fixed him with a hard stare. You screw this up, Harris. They're separated for good. You ready to carry that? John's jaw locked tight. He saw Sarah's face in his head, her voice soft but clear. Do it. He'd spent 5 years chasing that promise, patching up a life that felt half empty. These girls, they weren't just a case. They were a chance. He slammed his fist on the wall, the thud echoing. Make it work. Linda raised an eyebrow but didn't argue. We'll talk at the station. This ain't a quick yes. The girls watched him, Amara's gaze cutting deepest, like she was testing him already. Mike dragged him outside, rain soaking their boots. You're throwing your life away, man. 4 of them? You don't even know what you're signing up for. John stared at the house, the girls' silhouettes in the window. Maybe not, he said, voice low, but I can't let him get torn apart. Not after this. Back at the station, it was a whirlwind paperwork. Questions. Linda grilling him. Why you? Single guy, white, no kids. Why these girls? He leaned forward, elbows on the table. Because they've lost enough. And I've got a house, a job. I can give them a shot. She studied him, then nodded slow. All right, we'll see if you've got the guts for it. Hours later, he sat in his cruiser outside the temporary foster spot where the girls were stashed for the night. His hands shook as he gripped the keys, doubt clawing up his throat. Can I pull this off, or am I just running from my own mess? The next day, they showed up at his place, Amara, Simone, Tiana, Zoe, 4 girls with nothing but trash bags of clothes and eyes that didn't trust easy. Rain dripped off their hoods as they stood on his porch, a squat brick house on the edge of town. John swung the door wide, cap still damp. This is your spot now. Don't make me regret it. Zoe let out a little laugh, sharp and bright, cutting through the weight. Amara stepped in first, sizing up the bare living room couch, TV, a coffee table with too many mug rings. Simone clutched her sketchbook. Tiana kicked at the floor. Zoe stayed close. Millbrook started talking fast to white cop, taking in 4 black girls. John didn't care. He shut the door behind them, the lock clicking shut on a choice he couldn't unmake. That night, he stood in the kitchen, staring at the four mismatched chairs around his table. His house had been a tomb since Sarah Silent, hollow. Now it was theirs, these girls he didn't know, but couldn't let go. He rubbed his jaw, calluses rough against stubble, and muttered to himself, "What the hell did I just do?" Outside, the rain kept falling, but inside, something was starting. Something loud, messy, real. John Harris stood in his kitchen the morning after the girls moved in, coffee mug cold in his hand, staring at the chaos already taking root. His house, a squat brick box on Millbrook's edge, had been a silent shell since Sarah died 5 years back. Now it was a damn circus. Amara, 12, leaned against the counter, arms crossed, her braids swinging as she sized him up like he was a suspect. Simone, 10, sat at the table, pencil scratching across her sketchbook, turning the margins black. Tiana, 8, bounced a beat-up basketball off the linoleum, the thud, thud, thud rattling John's skull. Zoe, 6, perched on a chair too big for her, swinging her legs, humming something off-key that cut through the noise. 4 girls, his girls, filling a space that'd been dead too long. He set the mug down, rubbing his stubble-rough jaw. "All right," he said, voice gruff from years of barking orders. "Breakfast. What do you eat?" Amara raised an eyebrow. "You tell us. You're the one who wanted us here." John grunted, caught off guard by her edge. "Fair point." He dug through the pantry, half a box of cereal, some stale bread, then turned to the fridge. Empty except for ketchup packets and a stick of butter. "Guess I'm learning," he muttered, and Zoe giggled, a sharp little sound that made him twitch a smile. He ended up scorching mac and cheese from a blue box, the kitchen stinking of burnt cheese. But they ate it anyway, Tiana scraping her plate clean between dribbles. That first week was a crash course. John fumbled with Simone's curls, yanking a brush through till she yelped, "You're killing it!" He cursed under his breath, palms sweating, and tossed the brush aside. "Here's your job till I figure it out," he said, and she smirked, already sketching again. Tiana turned the living room into a gym, her basketball smacking the couch till John snapped, "Outside, kid, or I'm confiscating it." She glared but hauled it to the patchy backyard, dribbling circles in the dirt. Amara tested him, hardest every rule he set. She poked at. "Bed by 9, he'd say. "Why 9? She'd shoot back, arms crossed. "Because I said so," he'd growl, and she'd stalk off, muttering. Zoe just trailed him, quiet, her humming a constant buzz he couldn't shake. Millbrook didn't make it easier. The diner buzzed with sideways look-sold timers nursing coffee, whispering loud enough to hear, "Harris is in over his head. 4 of them? He's nuts." At the grocery store, pushing a cart full of cereal and peanut butter, a lady in curlers stared. "Your kids?" John nodded short. "Yeah." She sniffed and walked off. School was worse. Tiana came home day 3, fists clenched. "They said you're fake. Just white guilt." John's jaw tightened. He marched to the principal's office next morning, badge still in his pocket from habit. "My girls deserve better than this crap. Sort it out." The guy stammered, promising to handle it, but John knew talk was cheap. Trouble hit harder a month in. A parent, some loudmouth dad from Tiana's class, filed a complaint with child services, claiming John was unfit because he didn't match the girls. A hearing got slapped together fast. A stuffy room at the courthouse with a judge peering over glasses. Linda, the caseworker, sat in back, arms crossed. The dad ranted, "He's a single cop, no wife, no clue those girls need a real family." John sat stiff, hands clenched on his knees, till Tiana, 8 and fearless, jumped up. "Is my dad, you can't take him." The room froze. John pulled her down, voice low. "Easy, kid." He faced the judge. "I'm not perfect, but I'm not walking away. They've lost enough to take this too." The judge rubbed his temples, then tossed it. "Case dismissed. Don't waste my time." Linda caught John outside. "You dodged a bullet. Keep it together." He nodded, but his gut churned, close call, too close. It didn't stop there. One night, leaving the diner with Amara after grabbing takeout, 3 drunks stumbled out of the alley. "Harris!" one slurred, bottle in hand. "Go raise your own kind, traitor." The bottle flew, smashing against John's forehead. glass-biting skin. Blood ran hot down his face as he shoved Amara behind him. "Stay back, I've got you." They laughed, staggering off, but John didn't swing. He wiped his face with his sleeve, jaw locked, and walked her home, her eyes wide but silent. At the sink, washing the cut, he caught her watching. "You okay?" he asked. She nodded slow. "You didn't hit back." "Didn't need to," he said. "Fight's for you, not them." She didn't argue after that. He knew he was in deep way over his head, and he wasn't cutting it alone. One night, staring at Simone's tangled curls, he grabbed his phone and dialed Mother Henrietta, a church elder with a voice like gravel and honey. She'd known the girl's parents, ran the mostly black congregation on the east side. "Need help," he said, short. She didn't blink. "Bring 'em Sunday, and you get over here tomorrow. Zoe likes cornbread, you're learning." Next day, he stood in her kitchen, apron ridiculous on his frame, fumbling flour till she swatted his hand. "They hate you for loving them, Harris. Keep going anyway." Zoe tore into the warm bread later, grinning through crumbs, and John felt the day's sting fade. Sunday, he walked them into that church, stiff in a collared shirt he hadn't worn since Sarah. The pews creaked under him, gospel hymns loud and unfamiliar, but the girls swayed, Amara steady, Simone tapping her pencil, Tiana bouncing, Zoe humming along. Mother Henrietta caught his eye after, smirking. "Your family now, like it or not." Back home, they started calling him Dad, Tiana first, offhand after a backyard dribble session. "Pass it, Dad." It stuck, spreading like wildfire. Zoe's dad was quiet, Simone's a mumble, Amara's reluctant but real. Weeks turned to months, then a couple years. John got better hair still stumped him, but he nailed peanut butter sandwiches and bedtime stories. Tiana's basketball dented the shed. Simone's drawings covered the fridge. Zoe's humming became his alarm clock. Amara's questions sharpened into trust. The town didn't let upstairs, whispers, the occasional charity case jab, but John stopped caring. He'd sit on the porch nights, beer in hand, listening to their chatter through the screen door. His house wasn't empty anymore. One evening, Amara, 14 now, caught him there. "Why'd you do it?" she asked. No edge this time. John took a sip, staring at the dusk. "You girls were a chance, something worth fighting for." "Didn't know it'd be this hard, but I'd do it again." She nodded, leaning against the rail. "Good," she said, and went inside. John rubbed his neck, the weight of it settling in for daughters, his daughters, against all odds. The road ahead was rough, but he'd paved it himself, and he wasn't turning back. John Harris leaned against the kitchen counter, coffee gone cold in his mug, watching the girls tear through their morning routine. 10 years had passed since that rainy night on Elm Street, and at 55, he felt every one of them in his bones. The house, once a silent tomb, thrummed with life, a messy, loud kind he'd never trade. Amara, 22 now, stood by the sink pouring cereal with the same steady hands that sized him up a decade ago. Her braids swapped for a short crop. Simone, 20, sat hunched over her sketchbook, pencil flying, her curls wilder than ever. Tiana, 18, laced up her sneakers, basketball tucked under her arm, her frame lean and tough from years on the court. Zoe, 16, sprawled on the couch, nose in a book, humming low like always. 4 daughters, his daughters, carved into his life like initials in wet cement. But the cracks were showing. Tiana had been off, lately quiet in a way that wasn't her. Her usual fire dimmed. John caught it at breakfast. "Game tonight, right?" She nodded, short. "Yeah." No spark, no trash talk about crushing the other team. He let it slide, figuring teenage moods, but it stuck with him. That night, he sat on the bleachers at Millbrook High, badge swapped for a faded jacket, watching her play. She was damn good driving the lane like a freight train, sinking shots that made the crowd roar. But something was wrong. Her passes missed, her shoulders slumped. After the whistle, she stormed off the court, ignoring the coach's call, and John followed her out back, gravel crunching under his boots. "Tiana," he said, voice rough from years of yelling over sirens. "What's eating you?" She spun, eyes blazing. "You don't get it, do you? Every miss, every slip, they blame my fake dad." You'll never know what it's like. Her words hit like a sucker punch. John stepped closer. Talk to me, kid. What happened? She laughed, bitter. Some jerk on the team said I don't belong, parentless trash with a pity dad. I'm sick of it. He reached for her shoulder, but she jerked away. You can't fix this. You're not even... She stopped, but the unspoken stung. Not my real dad. She bolted, sneakers slapping pavement, leaving him in the cold. It got uglier. 2 days later, the school called. John's gut sank as he drove to the station. Not the precinct he knew, but the county lockup. Tiana sat behind bars, knuckles bruised, eyes red. She decked a kid, the deputy said, shrugging. Said he called her parentless trash again. Zero tolerance, cuffs went on. John knelt by the cell, voice low. What the hell, Tiana? She glared through tears. I don't need you. I don't fit here, never will. His chest tightened. She was 18, tough as nails, but still a kid under it. You're my home, he said, rough but steady. Tell me how to fight for you. She broke, sobs shaking her, and nodded. The deputy let her out on a warning, John's badge pulling just enough weight. She slumped in his truck, silent, the rift between them raw and open. He didn't sleep that night, replaying her words. You'll never know. He'd tried church Sundays, hair disasters, late night talks, but maybe he'd missed something big. The cough started then, a dry hack he brushed off as dust or fatigue. He wiped blood from his sleeve after dropping her home, quick so she wouldn't see, muttering, not now they need me. Amara caught it a week later, 22 and sharp as ever. You're coughing blood, Dad. See a doctor. He waved her off, gruff. I'm fine, just a bug. She crossed her arms. You're not bulletproof. He glared, but her stare didn't budge. The girls rallied after Tiana's blowout. Simone sketched quieter, her pencil strokes heavy. Zoe's humming stopped, her books piling up unread. Amara hovered, watching him too close. John pushed through work, dinners, Tiana's games, pretending nothing was wrong. But it caught up fast. At a backyard barbecue, the air thick with summer heat, he tossed a ball with Zoe, 16 and lanky now. She grinned, lobbing it back. You're slow, Dad. He laughed, then coughed hard. Blood flecked his lips, staining his shirt mid-throw. His knees buckled, vision swimming, and he hit the grass, the ball rolling away. Amara yelled cut through. I told you! Tiana dropped her burger. Simone froze. Zoe ran for the phone. They hauled him to the ER, a blur of tires and panic. John came to on a stretcher, oxygen mask fogging up. The girls' faces hovering, Amara's jaw tight. Simone's eyes wide, Tiana's fists clenched, Zoe's hands shaking. The doc ran tests, his voice clipped. We'll know soon. Sit tight. John pulled the mask off, rasping. I'm fine, just overdid it. Amara snapped. Stop lying, Tiana glared. You can't leave us, not after everything. Her voice cracked, the fight draining out. Simone whispered, we need you, Dad. Zoe just gripped his hand, silent. Hours dragged. John sat propped on the bed, staring at the ceiling tiles, their words looping in his head. Tiana's rebellion, he got it now. The weight she carried, the stares he couldn't shield her from. He'd fought for them, sure, but maybe not the right way. The cough wasn't new, had ignored it for months, hacking into his sleeve, wiping blood on his jeans. Stupid, he muttered, rubbing his face. Amara sat beside him, voice low. You're not invincible. We can't lose you too. He met her eyes, saw the kid from Elm Street under the grown woman's stare. I'm not going anywhere yet. The doc came back, face grim. Need more tests, but it's not good. Could be cancer, lungs look rough. John nodded steady. Figure it out. The girls didn't flinch, Murr straightened. Simone gripped her sketchbook. Tiana cracked her knuckles. Zoe squeezed his hand harder. They weren't running, weren't breaking. Tiana leaned in, voice fierce. You fight this, Dad. We're not done. He looked at them 4 daughters, his family, forged in fire, and felt the weight shift. Had been their rock, but now they were his. That night, back home, he stood on the porch, air cool against his skin. The girls crashed inside, exhausted but alive, arguing over the remote. Zoe's hum starting up again. His chest ached, the cough lurking, but he pushed it down. Tiana's words from the jail cell rang. I don't fit here. Maybe she didn't, not yet, but she fit with him, with them. He'd screwed up, missed signs, but he'd fix it. The fight wasn't over, not with the town, not with her, not with whatever was clawing his lungs. He gripped the railing, muttering, we're in this together, kid. The stars blinked overhead, and for the first time in weeks, he believed it. John Harris sat on a paper-covered exam table, the sterile hum of Millbrook General buzzing around him. 4 years had crept by since that barbecue collapse, and at 59, he felt the mileage lines carved deeper in his face, a rasp in his chest that wouldn't quit. The girls were older now, tougher, their lives sprawling out from the little brick house. Amara, 26, stood by the door, arms crossed, her short-cropped hair framing a face that didn't flinch. Simone, 24, leaned against the wall, sketchbook tucked under her arm, her curls spilling wild. Tiana, 22, paced the small room, sneakers squeaking, her basketball days traded for coaching kids at the rec center. Zoe, 20, sat beside him, book closed in her lap, her humming silenced by the weight of the moment. 4 daughters, his daughters, staring down the barrel with him. The doctor, a balding guy with tired eyes, flipped through a chart, voice flat. It's lung cancer, stage 3. Caught it late smoking, maybe, or just bad luck. John nodded steady. I quit 10 years back. Guess luck's the winner. The doc didn't smile. Chemo's an option. Radiation, too. No guarantees. John shrugged, blunt. I've had my run. Do what you can. Amara slammed the table, her voice cutting through. No, we're not losing you, not after everything. Her eyes locked on his, daring him to argue. Tiana stopped pacing, fists clenched. You don't get to check out, Dad. Simone's pencil tapped her leg. Zoe's hand tightened on his arm. They weren't asking, they were telling. He dug in, stubborn as ever. I'm not letting you watch me waste away. Seen it with Sarah want do that to you. His voice cracked on her name, the memory of tubes and beeps still raw. Tiana stepped up, fire in her. You don't decide that. I've got stats, 90% survival if you start now. You taught me to fight, so fight. Shed dug into it, probably late nights after coaching, numbers scribbled on napkins. John glared. Stats don't mean shit when it's you on the slab. Amara cut in. Then we'll drag you through it. You're not done, not with us. Zoe's voice, quiet but firm, sealed it. We need you, Dad. Please. He looked at them, 4 sets of eyes unyielding, and felt his walls crack. All right, he said, rough. But if I don't make it, you keep going. Swear it. They nodded, a pact forged in the sterile air. Chemo started fast, a grind that turned his days to sludge. The first round hit like a truck nausea, bending him over the toilet. Hair thinning in clumps. He'd sit in that damn chair, IV, dripping poison, staring at the ceiling while the girls took shifts. Amara ran the show, barking orders at nurses like a drill sergeant, her social work gig making her a pro at cutting through red tape. Simone brought her sketchbook, drawing him in sharp line, Shim laughing with Zoe, him tossing a ball with Tiana to ping them to the walls till the room looked alive. Tiana hauled him out for walks on good days, her coach voice steady. Move, day don't more block. Zoe read to him, novels about grit and survival, her voice soft but sure, filling the silence with something solid. It wasn't smooth. One session, infection spiked, fever burned through him, his heart flatlining for 30 seconds. The alarm screamed, nurses rushing, and outside, Zoe slammed the wall. You promised! Tiana gripped Simone's arm. Amara yelled at the staff, fix him! He pulled through, waking to their faces, sweat-soaked, eyes red. Fighting. For you, he rasped, throat raw. The doc said later, close call. You're tough, Harris. John grunted. I'm not me. Them. Nights got heavy after that. Tiana sat by his bed one evening, the house quiet, her sneakers off for once. She stared at the floor, voice low. I ran back then, thought you'd leave us, like Mom and Dad. Thought I'd lose you anyway. Her eyes flicked up, wet. I was wrong. John reached out, his hand shaky but firm on hers. I'm here till the end, kid. You're stuck with me. She laughed, rough through tears. Good, 'cause I'm not done yelling at you. Next morning, she pushed his wheelchair out back, the air crisp. You taught me not to quit your turn. He smirked, wind biting his face. Bossy as hell. She grinned. Learned from the best. The months dragged chemo, scans, pills, but the girls didn't budge. Amara tracked every appointment, hounding doctors till they squirmed. Simone's drawings piled up, a gallery of their fight. Tiana turned walks into drills, counting steps like points in a game. Zoe's stories kept him grounded, her voice a lifeline when the fog rolled in. John hated it, the weakness, the puking, the way his hands shook, but he hated letting them down more. He'd catch them whispering, planning something, their heads bent together like they were kids again. What's up? Head asked. Amarad shrugged. Just stuff. He didn't push too tired, and they'd tell him when they were ready. One afternoon, propped on the porch swing, he watched Tiana shoot hoops with a couple neighborhood kids she coached. The ball thumped steady, her voice barking, Hustle! Hustle! Shed traded college ball for this, teaching scrappy kids who reminded him of her at 8. Simone sat beside him, sketching the scene, her pencil scratching fast. You okay? She asked, not looking up. He nodded, slow. Yeah. You girls, you're something else, she smirked. You made us that way. Zoe stepped out, book in hand. Your turn, Dad. Chapter 10. Amara followed, coffee mug steaming. Don't slack now. The test came back 6 months and tumors shrinking. Not gone, but enough to breathe easier. The doc said, You're a stubborn bastard, Harris. Might beat this yet. John didn't smile. Not me. Them. He looked at his girls, Amara's steady grip, Simone's quiet strength, Tiana's fire, Zoe's calm, and knew it was true. He'd fought for them since that first night, but now they were fighting for him, a pact too tough to break. That night he lay in bed, the house settling around him. The cough was still there, a dull ache, but lighter. Tiana's hoops echoed from the yard, Simone's pencil scratched downstairs, Zoe's hum drifted through the wall, Amara's footsteps paced the hall. 4 daughters, his family, holding the line. He'd been their rock, but they'd rebuilt him, piece by jagged piece. The road ahead was blurry, more chemo, more battles, but with them, he'd take it. He closed his eyes, muttering, We've got this, and for once he believed it. John Harris sat on the edge of his recliner, tugging at the collar of a button-up shirt he hadn't worn in years. 5 years had crawled by since the cancer diagnosis, and at 64 he was still kicking thinner, grayer, but alive. The chemo grind was behind him, remission holding steady like a hard-won truce. The house hummed with its usual racket. Amara, 31, barking orders in the kitchen. Simone, 29, sketching at the table. Tiana, 27, lacing up sneakers. Zoe, 25, flipping book pages on the couch. 4 daughters, his daughters, a unit forged through hell and back. They'd planned a dinner to mark 5 years cancer-free, but John smelled a setup. Their whispers, in quick glances, gave it away. Wear something nice, Dad, Amar had said, her voice too casual. He'd grumbled but complied, trading his usual flannel for this stiff shirt. Now they were piling into Tiana's beat-up truck, the girls chattering about nothing while John sat shotgun, squinting at the road. Where are we going? He asked, suspicious. Tiana grinned. You'll see. They pulled up to this Millbrook Community Center. A low brick building had driven past 1,000 times. The lot was packed, cars jammed tight, lights spilling out the doors. John's gut twisted. What's this? Zoe nudged him. Come on, Dad. He stepped inside and the place erupted, hundreds of voices yelling, Surprise! John froze, jaw slack. The room was stuffed cops he'd worked with, church folks from Mother Henrietta's crew, neighbors who'd once stared, kids Tiana coached, even the diner crowd. A banner stretched across the wall. John Harris, our hero. Hands clapped his back, voices overlapping. Mike, his old partner. You stubborn bastard. Mother Henrietta grinning. Told you your family. John blinked hard, throat tight, as the girls steered him to a chair up front. What the hell's this? He muttered. Amara smirked. Sit down, Dad. It's for you. The noise died down and Tiana stepped up, holding a box wrapped in plain brown paper. At 27, she had swapped her high school jersey for a coach's whistle, her fire still burning bright. This is from us, she said, handing it over. John's hands shook as he tore it open. A certificate stared back. Harris Legacy Project. He read aloud, voice rough. Mentorship homes for foster kids. His eyes scanned the words, then flicked to the girls. What's this? Simone leaned in, 29 and steady. We funded it, my art sales, Tiana's coaching money, Amara's savings. It's real Dad First Center's already running. Amara nodded. We bought back the Elm Street house, the one you found us in. It's ours again, for kids like us. John's chest locked up. That house-rotting walls, broken couch where he'd first seen them, scared and small. Now a lifeline for others. You sold your stuff? He croaked. Tiana grinned. Worth it. You're worth it. The crowd murmured. Heads nodding cops. Kids. Old-timers who doubted him once. Zoe, 25, stepped forward, her book tucked away, voice soft but clear. There's more. She handed him a worn journal, pages yellowed. Found this in the attic Sarah's. John's breath hitched. Sarah's handwriting stared back, shaky but hers. John, if you read this, give kids the chance I lost. Miscarried today, her baby's gone. He choked, tears burning. The crash that took her, he'd never known she'd lost their kid too. That night on Elm Street, 19 years back, he'd walked into her dream without a clue. She wanted this, he whispered, tracing the ink. Zoe nodded. You made it happen. The room blurred his choice, her wish, their fight, all crashing together. He stood, legs shaky, voice rough but strong. I didn't save you girls, we saved each other. And now he held up the certificate. We saved more. The crowd roared, feet stomping, but John's eyes stayed on his daughters. Amara's steady nod, Simone's quiet smile, Tiana's fist pump, Zoe's tear-streaked grin. Kids rushed in 10, maybe 12 scrappy foster runs from that Elm Street house, now a center with fresh paint and real beds. They swarmed the girls, hugging legs, tugging hands. One, a wiry boy with Tiana's scowl, yelled, She's teaching me hoops. Tiana ruffled his hair. Damn right. John watched. Throat tight, these were their kids now. Proof of a fight worth winning. Mother Henrietta shuffled up, 80-something but sharp. You did good, Harris, real good. He nodded, words stuck. They did. Tiana leaned close, voice low. Oh, and I've got a little baller on the way, your grandkid. John's head snapped up. What? She grinned. Due in 6 months. Thought you should know. He laughed, a raw bark that shook his frame, pulling her into a hug. You're killing me, kid. The room spunchers, laughs, hands shaking his, but John held steady, anchored by them. Later, they piled back home, the girls buzzing. John sank onto the porch swing, the night cool and quiet. Amara sat beside him. You mad we sprung it? He shook his head. Nah, just hell of a thing. Simone smirked. You earned it, Zoe added. We all did. Tiana kicked at the steps. Gotta keep fighting, right? John looked at them, 4 daughters, his family, built from nothing, and nodded. Damn right. The stars blinked overhead, and he felt it. They'd won, not just for him, but for every kid who'd get a shot because of them. John Harris, 65, sat on his porch swing in Millbrook, the creak of wood under him blending with the hum of tractors in the distance. A year past the big surprise, his chest still rasped from the cancer fight stage 3, 5 years in remission, but he'd made it, thanks to his girls. Amara, 32, leaned on the rail, coffee in hand, steady as ever. Simone, 30, sketched on the steps, her art fueling their legacy. Tiana, 28, bounced baby Zoe, her kid, his grandkid on her knee, ex-baller-turned-coach. Zoe, 26, read to the little one, voice soft but sure. 4 daughters, his family, built from grit. The Harris Legacy Project was rolling Elm Street, reborn as a haven for foster kids. Headlines dubbing him the cop who sparked it. His book, Love Beyond the Badge, hit shelves, ending with, Families who you'd bleed for, they bleed back. We fight on. At baby Zoe's christening, he held her, whispering, "Family's a choice, we hold it." Tiana grinned. "Hair next, Grandpa?" Laughter rang, Amara teasing, Simone smirking, Zoe humming. 20 years from that rainy night, they'd turned ruin into something real. John sipped his beer, muttering, "We've got this," stars winking above.